Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
Yankees annual
DocOctShockRocktober. Holler-ween.
Stream along Spook-a-thon. You shat the window.
I shat the window.
Wundergoober was another thing you said before I started recording that I would like to.
Wundergoober. Because you
Wundergoober.
said Gooberkind? What? No. You said something, which made me think of Wunderkind. And so I said Wundergoober.
Are you snapping?
I was popping
Oh,
my knuckles. Yeah, yeah.
No, I was just confused because I couldn't see it, but I heard it.
Also, I mean, it's an experience they'll have too. They'll hear that horrible cracking sound and they'll know that I have anxiety.
Spoilers.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for listening. This is going to be the first in the...
Ep 1 of our insert
TBD. Holler-wheezy.
No.
Holler...
Veto. No holler.
Holler-ween. Because you're hollering because you're scared.
Oh.
Holler-ween.
Spooky Z and K pod.
Scream-tober.
Holler scream tober.
Nailed it. That's it.
Holler scream tober.
Holler-ween October. Okay. Anyway, we're starting
Got
with
it. We figured it out.
Final Destination, which is pushing the envelope far as
it is.
This is the most recent film we've ever reviewed for the main episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
Year 2000.
Yeah, well, I feel okay with movies from 2000 because I feel like it was still the
long 1990s?
Yeah, I feel like it was an extension of 1990s.
I don't really care, if I've not said explicitly before, that's sort of a soft rule that you came up with.
Yes, correct. I came up with it because I only wanted to watch movies from the 80s
That's
and 90s.
fine. It's turned out that there's plenty of movies from those particular, those several 20 years. Several 20 years? What? Okay.
Those couple 3 years. Couple 10.
Couple decades.
Couple 10.
Couple 3 decades. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Final Destination. Did I say that already?
Yeah.
Directed by James Wong, who was a producer on The X-Files.
And I believe also Space Above and Beyond.
Yes.
It's a show Keith has never seen, but I obsessed over as a youngster, which is kind of hilarious.
Who's in that?
It is Kristen Cloak, who played the teacher in this.
Which one? Laud?
The only teacher.
Well, not the one that lives.
The woman that survives. And for half of the movie at least. And it's stars James Morrison. And yeah, a bunch of people that aren't, I can't remember whatever. It stars a bunch of people that don't do much of anything. Were you farting?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for checking.
Yeah, it's like this movie about, it's a TV show, a movie. What am I on?
What are we talking about?
It's just Space Above and Beyond. It's just a TV show that's like Space Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And like, I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with that fucking show. And I thought Kristen Cloak was like super hot. I mean, she was like made of breasts, and I was like really into her. And I just thought it was that
unrelated,
thing.
I'm sure.
I was like, oh, I want to look just like her. No, I don't. I didn't want to look just like her. I wanted to have pretty lady kiss time with her. I was just like 11 or something.
Tucker Smallwood.
Yes, Tucker Smallwood. I was like, I'm never going to remember his name.
Yeah, I never will either. I just recognized him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Morgan Weiser?
Yes.
Rodney Roland?
Rodney Roland.
Joel De La Fuente?
Yeah.
Lene Chapman?
She was on TNG.
Oh.
She was one of the Helms people.
Yeah.
For,
totally.
just sitting there. Yeah.
I think on account of not having seen either of them, I conflate Space Above and Beyond with Earth 2.
Yeah. Those were two of my absolute favorite shows. Cut short. Only, like, Space Above and Beyond, I think, is only, like, 16 episodes. I bought it on DVD. I, like, literally obsessed over it. And Earth 2, I think it might have had a full season, but I'm not sure. But it did not last more than the first season. I was obsessed with that show.
As well.
Yes. And they came out around the same time. Might have been like the same year, within the same year. Earth 2, I literally, Earth
2, starring Clancy fucking Brown.
Yes, Clancy Brown. Antonio Sabato Jr., who I was madly in love with.
Because you wanted to have pretty lady kiss time?
No. But it had, like, oh God, I can't remember what her name is. But there was, like, a doctor lady in there, and I thought she was, like, really, oh God, what was her name?
Let's find out.
Because Deborah Ferrantino, I think, is in it, and she's from, Storm of the Century.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Julia Heller?
Yes.
Dr. Julia Heller?
Yes.
Played by Jessica Steen.
Yes. Oh my God. I was like, she is definitely who I wanted to have.
Not Rebecca Gayheart?
She was really pretty, but like I was not into her. I thought she was like really pretty, but it was like Jessica Stein was, or Steen or whatever.
Steen.
Yeah, she was.
Here's a still from the movie called Bullet in the Face.
But she's like, I don't know. Like, I was like, she looks kind of, I mean, I don't know. I just assume she's queer. She might not be, but I assume that she is. Because I assume everybody that I'm attracted to is queer.
That's fair. I mean, that typically works for me, too.
Like, it doesn't, I'm like, yeah, they swing both ways. I'm attracted to them. Yeah, they're queer. Don't worry about it.
Why does this look like a picture of Terry O'Quinn with a bra on?
Oh my God, it really does. But he was on Earth 2 as well.
Okay, he was.
Yes.
That explains
Tim
at least
Curry
some of it.
Had this really horrible role. Earth 2 was so weird. It was so fucking weird, and I don't know why I obsessed over it the way that I did.
I mean, I've heard plenty of reasons already.
But I absolutely, yeah. But yeah, Space Above and Beyond and Earth too. It's funny though because in Space Above and Beyond, Kristen Cloak is just like made of breasts and like is just like really conventionally attractive, you know. And I'm not saying Jessica Steen. Oh,
2 E's.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm not saying that she's not conventionally attractive, but she just looks nothing at all like Kristen Cloak. Like,
true.
I was just very much. I mean, and it's just like anybody. I'm going off on a tangent. Feel free to cut any of this, but whatever.
LOL.
I don't have like.
Welcome to this podcast.
I mean, I guess I could have types, quote unquote, but I don't think I really have like a type.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I guess like whatever. I don't know. I go on and on. But yeah.
Well, for male types, you kind of do.
Yeah. Do you have funky teeth? Well, let me rephrase that. Crookedy.
Are you British?
Yeah, crookedy teeth that aren't like perfectly straight. Mm-hmm. Do you have a lisp? Do you have a big nose?
Are you missing fingers or part of a limb?
I like big pointy noses. I like that. Yeah, and I like what? And I like jacked up teeth. So
jacked up teeth.
I mean, not really. I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, I think Ricky Gervais is annoying. I don't think he's attractive.
Where's this going?
No, I don't think he's attractive, but like I love his teeth. I love his weirdo teeth.
Oh, he has those weird baby teeth though.
No, but they're
so
like
short.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, they look all jacked up and I like it. But
I mean, the only charming thing about him is how easily he laughs and
he has a great like smile and laugh, in my personal opinion of liking.
I'm not going to go that far.
But yes, I can't stand Ricky Gervais, and he's annoying, and I don't.
He's been canceled.
Several times. I don't understand why anybody like puts up with anything Ricky Gervais.
I watched so much of his up. Anyway.
Yeah, Final Destination is a movie. So
The end. Sorry, that's all the time we have.
We are doing we want obviously October.
Obviously.
To be, scary movies.
Spooky, scary, horror.
Yeah. Horror-esque.
Thriller, suspense. Terror.
Yeah. Just
macabre.
Macabre. We want it to be, fun. So sorry, I feel like I'm just burps are just in my chest, not coming out. Anyway. So
you have a real knack for choosing to talk when you will be the least intelligible for biological reasons. Just in general, not only on the pod.
Not only on the pod.
You take a full bite of food and then try to tell me something. It's very curious to me.
It's funny how my favorite is when I do that and you just say nope.
Nope. Please try again.
And then I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll if I have a bite of food and I start talking, I'll be like, nope. And I'll chew a little bit and then I'll try and be like, no, still no. Just swallow and then don't put food in your mouth and then try again. He was direct me on how to speak.
That sounds abusive.
And I say, thank you, Daddy.
Thank you for giving me permission to speak properly.
Hit my head against
no.
so hard because I threw it back laughing.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Let me check your pupils.
Do I have any?
Oh fuck. So Final Destination
Yeah.
is a whole franchise.
It's a whole franchise.
I'd never seen any of them.
We should watch some for Unmentionables or some of the
I guess.
I would say, I mean, like, it's one of those where like, the trivia on this was like, this film has the shortest, like, opening terror sequence or whatever the fuck it is.
Destruction.
Yeah, whatever. And yeah, like,
it's only 2 minutes long.
The second one, like, if there's like a meme that's like, if you've never, like, it's like behind, like, you know, like how like semis will carry like wood logs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a picture of like a semi carrying like wooden logs, like, from behind, and they're
wooden
like,
logs.
if you've never seen Final Destination 2, this doesn't terrify you, because, you know, anyway. But Final Destination, I think I was expecting, like,
that just makes me think of the first death scene in The Descent. Doesn't somebody get a pole through the face?
Yes. It like her husband and
That's
kid.
great. I am kind of a sucker for those deaths.
Oh, I love
where like something comes through the front of a car through somebody's face.
I'm such a fan of like surprise deaths that are done like in the way where you're like expecting that eventually something's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't like, they don't like show you in a trailer. They don't show you anything. So you're like, oh, nothing's going to happen yet. Or like, oh, we have a while to go before, you know? And so like, you know, it's like the opening sequence and everyone's like, oh yeah, we're just having a barbecue. And then suddenly it's like, there's an explosion. And you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Oh my God. I love that shit so much.
Yeah, that's a pretty good formula.
Yeah.
If you
do it right.
None of the main characters for the rest of the movie, but like the background is some crazy death scene.
Yeah.
In the first 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. Or like, you know, who you think the main cast is.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay. And then they all die and you're like, oh.
You know, Drew Barrymore in Scream.
Yeah. That was a pretty good fake up. I like Scream. Anyway, okay. So we chose Final Destination because we picked out the movies that we want to watch for the month of Halloween.
Holler-ween, scary, DocOctShockRocktober.
DocOctShockRock.
There we go. There it is. Put a pin in that. Screamgasm.
No, that's just every Tuesday in our house.
I wish. More like every Wednesday.
So.
Just laughing at my. Yeah. So the premise of this movie is that everyone should have died on a certain flight, and they didn't because of.
Let's. Okay.
Sorry, before we go too far down that rabbit hole that I started. Sorry, it's my fault.
It's okay.
Is the second movie come out post 9/11? Because that was sure a thought I had watching this movie.
Yes.
Okay.
So but the interesting thing about this movie is that it came out. Whoa. It came out like a year or so before 9/11. It came out in the year 2000.
As established. So roughly a year before.
One thing the trivia was like, if this movie had come out after 9/11, it would have been a lot different. And I'm like, oh,
really?
wow, you don't say.
That was trivia?
None of the premise would have made sense after 9/11. Uh-huh.
Well, let me tell you.
The trivia was
it makes so much sense.
I know. Well, the trivia was like, if the movie had taken place after 9/11 and the plot as well, then they wouldn't have been allowed to take off at all after the incident. And I'm like, they probably wouldn't have done that pre 9/11 either, but whatever. So basically it's a plane full of people, including a bunch of students from a French class, and their teachers are going to France.
High school students.
Yeah, high school students. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It's not really that
And
important.
one of them, like, the plane starts taking off, it's kind of turbulent. They're a little scared, but things are okay. And then things aren't okay. Then the turbulence gets bad again, and shit just starts going really bad. Explosions everywhere, like electrical fires, and just like the plane like busts open and explodes. Everything is engulfed in flames. And then one of the kids wakes up from like the nap that they had fallen, they fell asleep on the plane or whatever and woke up.
Yeah, I love
or
that
something.
he fell asleep in the like 30 seconds he'd been on the plane.
Yeah. Or maybe he didn't fall asleep, but it's done. Like you're supposed to be surprised,
He is shaken out of his
right.
vision
So
trance
by two pretty girls.
the two popular girls.
And so he freaks out and he's like, I gotta get off the plane. And him and like another kid like punches him because he's, a man. And so like
That
in trying
character.
to break up the fight, like several people like get hooked into it, and like they're all like, this is the thing that's weird though. So, they're on, the two teachers and like six students get like escorted off the plane. And it's the French guy or the teacher that's like only speaking French, and then Kristen Cloak. Apparently their entire dialogue back and forth over who's gonna get on the plane was entirely improvised.
Oh yeah.
But they say there's only like
We'll let one of you back on.
Well, no, she's like, we can't have 40 students go
And land in France unsupervised.
and land unsupervised. Like one of us has to get back on. But all of the stuff is like, there were 4 teachers. I'm like, so there were 2 other teachers
Oh yeah.
on the what? So that was like a what?
Yeah.
That was very confusing how they made such a big deal
that's
that
a
one of them
continuity or plot
had
hole.
to get back on because all these students.
Maybe neither of the other two spoke French. They were just
She didn't either.
chaperones. I know. And also half the class didn't know any French
I
somehow.
know. They're all like, si vous bonsoir.
Oh, just the main teacher keeps speaking French.
And no one knows what he's fucking saying.
Every time one of the kids is like, what the fuck is he saying?
Could you imagine? Oh my God. I mean, what a delight to fucking like get a trip to France for school.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I wouldn't know what any of that is like. Anyway.
Nor I.
So they get off the plane, the one teacher gets back on, and then they're all like arguing about it in the terminal while the plane takes off, and they're like, oh, we miss going to France. Oh, we're so sad. And then the plane blows up. And they're like, everyone's freaked out. They're like, oh my God, how'd this kid know it was going to blow up? Like, how did he know shit was going to go on? And then, one by one, all the kids
They begin to die.
start to fucking die. And the premise basically is just that, like, whoever was supposed to die on the plane didn't die because they quote unquote cheated death. And so death is coming after them. And
Death has a design.
yes. And so, but it's hitting them in the order of like where they were sitting on the plane in relation to like where the electrical fire would have. But it didn't make any fucking sense to me because like when the sequence happens in like, you see like the people who die and like the teacher doesn't die before the plane like blows the fuck up. So, like, how she was, like, 4th in line or something. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's based on their seating in relation to the
path of the electrical short
yeah.
that happened to cause the Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, it didn't make any fucking
not
sense.
really.
I remember when I like rewatching this, I don't want to say I was disappointed because that's not at all what I mean, but I was surprised that I remember like when I watched this when I was like a teenager, like 15 or 16 or whatever. I remember watching this and being like really like it was very like surprising, like, you know, at the beginning when it blows up and then he gets off the plane and then it you know blows up, you know, and you're like, oh my god, and it was so like, oh shit, like yeah,
it was absolutely not that way.
Yeah, watching it again, I was like, wow, this is so mild. This is not.
I
this
said
is not spicy. This is.
I was
mild.
like, it's actually kind of anticlimactic
Right.
when the explosion.
I
does
remembered
happen.
it being way bigger, and I remembered it being like I remembered the like the death sequence at the beginning being like way longer. And truthfully, it might have actually gotten cut because, like, for whatever reason, with streaming services, they have like weird edits of movies to cut down like certain aspects of violence or certain like things.
What?
And so it might have been slightly longer or something. I mean, it might not be, but like,
Well,
I know
it was only, according to the trivia, it's only 2 minutes long and the shortest in the series.
Yeah. But I mean, like, literally, like, just, I mean, they could cut like 12 seconds from something and be like way different.
But the thing is, it's just you see a kind of smallish explosion in the sky through the windows. The windows break in, which is kind of great. That's kind of all that happens.
Yeah,
though.
they're all just
I
like,
realized,
oh, wow.
I was like, no one screams.
It exploded. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird for a movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But this is one of those movies that was like, because it was very popular.
Oh.
I think it was, well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's like 3 sequels or some shit. And they, like, after 9/11, it, like, they stopped playing it or they, like, pulled it from the shelves of the video store. They did a lot of stuff and so that might, like, and they'll, like, it's so weird. Like, I remember after Columbine happened, they, like, made a big deal. Like, they removed Heathers from the video store and all that shit because they didn't want.
LOL. Remember how we pretend to care about school shootings?
Right. I'm like, why? I mean, and I'm not saying like, I mean, why? What, you're gonna go to the, like? I don't understand it in the sense of like, I get like if it's like, oh, there was a massive school shooting and we were about to show Heathers on TV, maybe let's not do that.
Right.
But pulling it from the shelves of a video store, like, I'm sorry, you're going to seek out what? Like, I don't. It's like one of those weird things where it's like you're doing the wrong, like you're going the wrong way. Like you're getting cautious about the wrong things.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the media coverage
is
sensational as fuck.
Right. Mm-hmm. Correct.
But that's cool. I'm sure that has no impact on the people who later did similar things.
Yeah. Over and over and over.
Yeah, like trench coats were banned in a lot of schools after that. Shit like that.
And like, you know, it's like, okay, cool, but also what? Right.
Anyway.
And like music, like it's funny how people, like, it's weird because like I remember folks blamed Marilyn Manson. Oh, okay. And his music, and they were like, oh, like, they all listen to your music. And he was like, oh. And
sounds
we're like, oh, and, you know, like, oh, how do you feel about that? And, like, you know, he wasn't saying anything shitty. But it's funny because he's a
piece of shit,
horrible,
abusive,
rapist, piece of shit. So weird. Weird how that happened. It's funny to think that people were more ready to blame him for things other people did than they are to give a shit about the
actual
horrible monster that he is.
Yeah,
weird how it works like that for white men.
Yep. You need to calm it with the critical race theory over here.
That's fine. You're right. No, you're right.
We want the blue check mafia to come after us.
I haven't even looked at my notes.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
We've barely talked about the movie. So
yeah, the title sequence is so fucking long. It's
oh my god,
so fucking long.
Remember, I was like, I ate my entire dinner, and the credits were still going.
I know, it was not good. Also, this movie has Ali Larter in it, so this movie has, whatever. Ali Larter plays who apparently, her name is Clear.
Yeah, not Claire.
I know. I thought it was like typos, and then I was like,
Me too.
Oh, her name's just Clear.
I had the same experience.
She's from Heroes. And, oh God, I can't remember what his name is. The guy that played...
Zachary Quinto.
No. The guy that played her partner on Heroes. Oh God, it's like... Leonard Roberts, who played D.L. Hawkins, who was her, like, on the show. They were married with a kid.
Oh.
Apparently, he did like a I don't know. He wrote like an essay about his time on Heroes and how awful it was, mainly because Ali Larter was an absolute nightmare and refused to like kiss him and was like,
is he not white?
He is not white. And she was like very, very racist. And it was like, reading it was, I don't want to say it was not surprising. It was surprising, but I was like, it didn't make sense to me what happened to his character, and like reading from his point of view, like what he was like promised and how he like, because his character was just like not in it. Like his character was like built up so much and then was just like never on the show. And it was like very confusing, and I was always like really, really like, I was like, I don't understand. But apparently like she didn't want to do scenes with him. She would like accuse him of like, you know, like, yeah, it was like fucked up. Like I definitely recommend looking up the essay that he wrote and reading it. I have to look again because it's a name and I don't. Leonard Roberts. And like his character was cool. Like he could like move through walls and shit. It was really interesting. Like, yeah.
And she was
someone who had multiple personalities.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What a superpower.
Are you gonna pause?
Sure. You are?
Am I?
Oh no. I'm worried for that coffee cup.
I'm worried
full
for
of
that
coffee
cup too. It's not full, it's like half full. Don't be hyperbolic.
I'm just being optimistic.
Oh my god. Also, Ali Larter's character in Final Destination.
Yeah.
The trope of like artist, high school people being so different and cool.
I almost don't want to even get started on her character. Because
oh no, yeah, ridiculous. It doesn't. Like her character is like 7,000 tropes wrapped into one. She's like,
and nothing more.
My favorite is when she's like, I used to lie in bed when I was like 7 or 8.
When I was a kid, like 6 or 7, I used to worry so much about my parents dying, lying awake at night just worrying.
Yeah, well, most kids do, I guess.
Most kids never have it happen.
Stuff like that. She's like, yeah, but most kids don't have it actually happen to them.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. But she's an orphan in high school and has a whole house to herself, and in her free time welds into shitty sculptures. It's kind of like it reminded me of Demi Moore's character in The juror.
Oh my god.
Remember her shitty
Yes.
sculptures?
Right, where she was like, "Oh, what you do is you don't see them. You just like close your eyes and like you feel them."
Who said that?
That was Demi Moore in The Juror.
Oh.
It wasn't, you didn't see any of her sculptures. You stuck your hand inside and felt them.
Oh, that's right.
So you never, I mean, like, it's kind of smart in a sense. You never really saw what she was working on.
No, isn't there a scene where there's one of her sculptures being in process and then some, whatever. Anyway, let's not talk about the juror. But the quote you did, it could have been from this movie. When she's talking about, it's a sculpture of you. I feel like Clear said a similar thing about sculpture.
Do you know what this is?
This is a, Who's the springy head guy?
It's you. Not a likeness. It's how you make me feel, Alex.
I'm sorry.
No, like you, sculpture doesn't even know what or why it is. It's reluctant to take form. And you're creating an absolute but incomprehensible attraction.
Gadoosh. So I didn't say this while we were watching the movie. But this happens this is such a confusing thing. It's always confused me. I don't know if it's a trope so much as it's like just it's such a confusing thing in movies that happen where men or, cis men are sitting on a toilet wearing boxers.
Like the boxers are up?
They're up. They're on. They're fully on, and they're on the toilet, supposed to be taking a shit or something. And they're just wearing boxers, and I'm so confused. And Devin Sawa was wearing boxers while he, because they're like in the toilet taking a shit before the flight.
Oh.
And he's just sitting on the toilet with his boxers. It's like, what? Why?
Oh, wow.
I don't understand it. And it's like it's something that happens in like so many movies, and
I've never
it's
caught
always
that.
confused the shit out of me. Why? I don't get it. But yeah.
Me either.
Also, so much of the trivia in this movie is just like either incorrect or just like
Describing a scene.
or describing something that makes no fucking sense. It was like yeah, it was like the scene where Terry gets hit by the bus. So many like inconsistent things were said about like after she gets hit, everybody gets splattered with blood.
Uh-huh.
And like one of the trivia was like after Terry gets hit by the bus and they're sprayed with blood, Devin Saw's got the number 7 on his face. And that means that there's 7 victims or whatever. And then another one was like, after Terry gets hit by the bus and they all get splattered with blood, the number 5 is on Devin Saw's face, signifying there's 5 left or something. And I'm like, what? What the fuck? And then it was like, after Terry gets hit by the bus, it pans to Kristen Cloak. She's one of the 7 people. And I'm like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's so goddamn confusing. God. And I had forgotten about this, but I looked over and saw my notes. So Carter, is it? Yeah, Carter, who's played by Kerr Smith.
Kerr?
Yeah, Kerr. Kerr.
Sounds like onomatopoetic. Kerr Smith!
So he is like, I mean, like his reaction to, because like after Terry dies and then the teacher dies, it's like they realize that they're all like getting picked off one by death or whatever. And like Kerr Smith is like driving in a car. I don't know, whatever. They're all driving in a car. And he's like, they're like, oh, death is going to get us one by one or something like that. So he gets so pissed off finding out that he just tries to kill them all in like a car accident. He tries to like wreck the car and like kill them all because he's so upset to learn he's like he's not immortal.
You know, you get off having control over me. You let me decide how to deal with it.
It doesn't matter who's next. Because we're all on the same list, all of us.
Oh, fuck. Really? All right, then why bother? I mean, what's the fucking point, right? Me and Terry, we'll be back together on the other side. So why wait any longer?
Carter, what are you doing? Carter, slow down.
This character is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but like I'm like, no, that's accurate. That's like totally accurate to how like a white man responds to anything. It's just
that's true.
It's like, oh, I can't like be the
do whatever the fuck I want.
I can't be the CEO of this company just by walking in and saying I want to be the CEO. Well, I'm going to burn the whole place
Fuck
down.
affirmative action.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right.
I'm going to burn the building down and with me in it, and that'll show everyone. And it's like, that's not a rational response. Yeah, I think it is. Huh? Women only think with their uteruses, unlike men who think with logic. I'm going to burn this building down because I got fired. You're like, that's not logic.
Sure, the guy without a father is the one with the daddy issues. Explain that.
But also,
yeah, he's also.
I just want to say he gets after they like save him because he's like next, and after they save him from death, there's no reference to it, but they like after they save him, he stands up and his pants are completely soaked in the crotch. Like he has pissed his pants, and
That's
there's
right.
no reference. No one says anything. And to be fair,
it's like to his knees.
Yes. He has pissed his fucking pants. Now, I'm just going to say, if you piss your pants when you're almost getting hit by a train, no shame.
Absolutely.
Even if you just piss your pants, like, whatever, no shame. But it's the fact that it happened and it's just, like, in the background and, like, no one's saying anything about it.
Yeah.
And there's just, like, Kerr Smith just
Confusing.
has pee-pee pants and that's it. I was like, what? It's like there was probably something that they just cut out of the movie,
Right.
And I'm just like, what?
Some bit of dialogue got
And
removed.
first of all, I'd never noticed that before. And second of all, I'm like, it's so obvious. Why
Right.
did they just cut out someone being like, you pissed yourself? What? Also, there's so much like no homo in this movie too. It's so fucking
Don't take
annoying.
this the wrong way, but I miss you.
I know. There's just like so much of like men being like one of the dudes, like the first dude to like die after he survives the plane crash, like his fucking brother died in the plane crash, and he just like is like, oh yeah, my parents are like upset, I don't know why. Whatever, anyway. Oh,
They don't
I
want me
hope I
hanging
get
out with
laid.
you.
Like what he's just like chill as fuck, and like it's so fucking weird.
Originally, this was presumably written or pitched as an
X-Files episode.
Yeah, and also based on a movie from 1984 called Soul Survivor. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't either.
Anyway.
I know there was a Dean Koontz book called Soul Survivor. I don't know if it's the same. But
Dean Koontz,
Dean
author of the
Koontz.
Novel.
Sapphire
Right into the
by
film. Hideaway, the film based on
the novelization.
No, the 1984 film is written by Tom Eberhardt. Written and directed. What? I know that name. Something else we watched.
Also, like,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
oh fuck yeah, we so have to watch that for the pod. I know that you're
says
like,
you.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Anywho.
honestly, I feel like Final Destination, it was like,
Captain Ron.
oh shit. I feel like Final Destination was a movie that like I wanted it to be
And Night of the Comet. Sorry. I'm done.
I wanted it to be more than it was.
Yeah, it's got
It's like
some
ridiculous.
interesting elements.
It's interesting.
It's so heavy-handed, which you said
Yes.
right off the bat. You warned me.
Yeah.
And it is. There's like almost no irony in the.
Oh yeah.
The comedic attempts are.
Oh god. Yeah.
But fucking Tony Todd's monologue, Bloodworth, or whatever
Yeah.
his name is.
Mm-hmm.
In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes.
As if Tony Todd needs any help sounding like.
I know.
He's always great. Always love him.
Yes, Tony Todd. I'm such a fan of Tony Todd.
Yeah, dude.
He's so good. I feel like he definitely doesn't get like the recognition that he deserves.
I mean, like horror fans love him. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But
And with
like,
Candyman coming out, he has like the new Candyman at least.
yeah, has he got a cameo or something?
I don't know if he has a cameo in it. He might. But it's a sequel. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not a remake.
Right on.
So they're not erasing the history of Candyman.
Nice.
So,
I've heard mixed things so far.
yeah, I've heard people say they loved it. Some of those people I don't trust. Some of those people just love anything that is new, and out there.
And
So
just happen to be white, probably.
correct. But I've also heard some I've heard some critiques as well as some praise from.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about the original. We only just watched it last year or early this year. I don't remember.
For horror's sake, I fucking love the original. I think the original is just as a plain horror movie, amazing. I think it's good in the sense of how it addresses and talks about like gentrification and things like that, and like
White fear.
yes, and like is it redlining?
Uh-huh.
Shit like that. Like it gets a lot of things out there that like people wouldn't just if all you do is consume mainstream media, you probably wouldn't know a lot of this stuff. So it does a lot of work in
Right.
that way, but I'm not saying it does it perfectly. Like it definitely is a bunch
sure.
of white people going through black spaces and being like, oh my God,
so
this
scary."
is so terrifying for me, you know, and you're like, okay, all right, we get it. But and so in that way, I think like it falls a little bit, but I do think that there's a lot of ways that it's like doesn't it shows that these things are happening, and it shows that these things are going on, and it shows like white people being afraid of them, but it also shows like that like black folks are suffering because of it. It doesn't just show like white people being like, I'm so scared in a
Right.
black neighborhood. So like there, it's a mixed bag. But I don't know about the sequels. I haven't really.
Oh, they
I
made
know
sequels?
I know there's a second Candyman. I'm not sure if there's a third. I don't remember most of them, or I don't remember if I've even seen them.
Well, as it tends to go with sequels and horror sequels in
But
particular.
I know
that's-
Tony Todd is at least in the second one.
Okay.
So
Cool.
But anyway, but I think he's
He's great.
he's great in that, and also Kern, Worf's brother.
Oh, yeah. He's Kern.
Great.
He's in The Rock as.
You keep
Barely.
saying that,
Barely.
and I'm like, no, he's not The Rock. Oh, in The Rock. Okay. It's
Tony
not a
Todd
funny joke.
is
I
Dwayne
know.
The
I'm
Rock
like,
Johnson.
it's not a funny joke. He said, in The Rock. Okay. Yeah, this
My
movie.
only notes, I want to describe one scene briefly. It's when,
Please.
early on,
Mm-hmm.
when we see, what's the main character's name? Who cares? Alex?
Alex.
Is at home, and all you see, he's not really doing anything that you can tell. He's just got a bunch of news articles about plane crashes and books
and he's looking on the internet.
There's a picture of the front page of the USA Today on his computer monitor. Anyway, he sees a picture of Clear in the paper and decides to jack it and reaches for his penthouse. And then an owl hits his window.
Oh, yeah.
He, out of sort of fear and anger, throws his magazine at the window to scare the owl away, presumably. In the process, the magazine hits his metal fan and dices it to pieces, and then a little slip of paper that just says Todd lands on his knee or whatever.
Upside down, he has to flip it
That's
over
right.
to see, which is less...
Subtle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more subtle.
Yes.
Also, it's Todd with one D, as the trivia points out, which is the German word for...
Also, I like how inconsistent they are with the warnings of death, because...
Yes.
First, he actually sees a vision.
Completely inconsistent.
Yes. Then when Todd is about to die, he gets the penthouse warning on his leg. Where, I mean, I'm just assuming that's where
Penthouse
his
Warning
own
by John
semen
Grisham
would have fallen. They're like, this is where your jack-off splooge would have hit. But instead, it's your friend's name. Life and death.
You just came deaf.
And then when the teacher... Oh, no. Then with the friend, he sees a reflect... sorry, Terry, the friend.
Thank you. You mean the Quaker?
The other one. He sees a reflection of a bus. And then, like, 10 minutes later, she gets hit by a bus out of nowhere. And then...
Who could have seen it coming with her walking backwards into a crosswalk? Also, go on. Sorry.
I like the trivia. It's just like, Terry dies after saying, you don't just drop dead. I'm like, oh, that's not trivia. That's literally...
That's also not dropping dead. That's getting killed by a bus.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It doesn't say Terry drops dead after saying. It's just like Terry dies immediately after saying you don't just
so
drop
really,
dead.
you're just citing
I'm like,
a
okay,
sequence of events.
Yeah, that's literally, and then it's like, and yeah, oh my god. Anyway, which is like a spoiler, and I'm like, yeah, it's a spoiler because you're just describing a scene in the movie. Like, what
Where
color
someone
was her
dies.
top?
Yeah.
She's wearing pink when she dies. Pink can in some cultures signify a red mixed with white. Red can sometimes be.
That's the thing. It's not even that elaborate, though.
No,
half
I mean,
the
like,
time
this
it's
is
like
the. Well, I guess that's fair. Like, but the trivia is always like, sometimes in some cultures, some people will sometimes think of something, and sometimes it'll say that it happened, and you're like, what? That's
the
not
color
it.
pink was also in this other movie starring this person's husband.
They were both in a. This person and this other person acted in a film together. Who both of them acted in a separate film with another person that also wasn't in this movie. Like, what? IMDb trivia is just like, it's just people just being like,
Yeah.
you know what? I've had a couple of beers. I'm just doing it. I'm just gonna say every fucking
That's
thing
true.
I know about this movie, and I'm gonna put it on IMDb trivia. And I just hope someone
That's
tries
true.
to challenge me.
I should. That's a good point. I should try to redirect. Anytime I've had some drinks and am tempted to post on social media, I just direct it to the IMDb comments. The third star of the podcast, by the way.
I mean, honestly, like, the IMDb trivia should be like, while watching this movie, I got an erection that was approximately so much centimeters long. And people will be like, what does that have to do with the movie? It happened while I was watching it. What doesn't it have to do with the movie? Like, that's the relevance of
Exactly.
57% of IMDb trivia.
I did not comb through the trivia too much, but the dickhole douchebag jock guy
Carter.
drives a Dodge Charger. Just for listeners. For no reason. I feel like it's one of those things like in Hideaway.
Yep.
Also, this weird 2000, but I guess 90s trope of...
Oh! Sorry. It's
fine. Apparently, trope of, like, popular dudes driving classic muscle cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was unaware that was a thing.
I don't know if it's
as
a thing.
trope.
Oh,
even.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Dodger, whoever.
Would you recommend this movie?
Let's wait to see who answers the door. Yeah, if you're looking for something you don't need to pay attention to.
Yeah. I think
it's all right. I don't know. I wouldn't want to personally invest in the entire franchise, given how the first one goes, and assuming the sequels are less good.
Well, here's the thing about this. Something about Final...
Watch it for Tony Todd.
Yeah. Tony Todd. Final Destination.
Tony Todd is my Final Destination.
Final Destination is a movie that you watch and you're like, oh, wow. And like, in the year 2000, this was pretty great. For like a shitty horror movie that you're going in just for like the slasher aspects of it, just like to see kills. As a franchise, I do think in a sense it gets better because they just focus on like ways to make the kills. Because like there's not a killer, there's not a motive other than people dying. Jesus Christ. The motive of the movie is just people dying, and that's it. There's no...
I do like that there's no... The killer is just death, and so it's disembodied.
Correct. And so
it's elemental.
Yeah, and so you don't really have, like, a force. You don't have, like, anything that's going on. You don't have anything that's, like... You don't have anyone that you're battling,
Right.
So it's just... Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think the sequels don't suffer because of that.
Okay.
And it becomes more about ridiculous ways that people die as opposed to like trying to figure it out. And like the rules going in.
What are they?
Yeah, which just that, death skipped you the first time, so it's coming back around again. So.
Yeah. I think It Follows does a better job of this.
Oh, yeah.
Of that concept, that specific concept.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
the overall premise is different.
Yeah. I will say they do fight it in the end, though.
What?
In It Follows. They fight the presence in the end.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
And they have several confrontations with it.
That's true. Yeah.
So
but
it's
it
a
is
little
about
bit different,
like who's next and trying to
figure out the pattern and
I wish I'd said this at the top of the episode. It would have been funnier than instead of death, I think it's just the ghost of Rube Goldberg.
I don't get it.
In cartoons, how those elaborate machines were like, like in the beginning of
Oh,
Pee-wee's
yeah.
Big Adventure with the, a ball
Like a
drop.
mouse trap or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh my God. Seriously, though. Also,
I also, in my notes, said that Claire gets chased by a pool of electricity.
Yeah. I was saying this, and I don't know what. I cut myself off or something. I was saying, like, oh, yeah, I was talking about Todd. Like, he gets the warning of Todd on the splooge bot. But then, like, but then with the teacher, it's just like he's walking past a fire, and he's like, oh, my God. And I'm like, you're not getting a vision. You're just looking at a fire.
The embers attack him.
Yeah, right? Like, what does that mean? And then, but then, like, she dies in an explosion. No, she dies by getting a bunch of things stabbed into her before the explosion happens. Like, she doesn't die in an explosion. She dies in a sharp things.
Well, only because the first few things don't work. That's what it feels like.
What?
There are several things that should have killed her before that.
Before what?
Before the knives fall onto her.
Right. But that doesn't matter. What I'm saying is he sees a fire.
No, agreed.
And that cues him into how she's going to die. So he goes and saves her, and then it's an explosion after she's already been deaded by knives and other things.
Well, and more to the point, him pulling the knife out of her.
Also, I like how they're like, it's been like an hour and a half, or like maybe a day at most, and they're like, the fire caramelized the blood.
What? I don't remember this.
Yes. The fire caramelized the blood. It's your shoe print that in blood, so they know it's you. No. No. Caramelize the blood. I didn't know her blood was made of sugar.
Well, there is sugars in blood.
No.
And high heat.
Blood is
of an explosion.
No, blood is made of white and red dye. Red number 4 and white number
Trivia.
Positive.
Most blood in movies is dyed corn syrup.
Also, like, it's fine.
This is a callback. Did you see the trivia that's like all the characters have last names of like directors of horror movies?
Yeah.
But like old ass ones?
Mm-hmm.
Like F.W. Murnau and what?
Murnau?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I thought you were. I thought you were doing F. Murray Abraham. Of an F. Murray Abraham joke.
I'm not a director.
I know.
Murnau directed, I don't know.
Something.
He directed, I don't know, one of the early vampire movies.
Okay. Oh, but I would recommend this only if you're going to watch the sequels, though. If as a standalone.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I definitely think this, and I would also recommend it if you're looking for just like nothing, no semblance of like
logic.
A plot. Yeah. You're not looking for something that's like, it's not surprising. There's not really any twists and turns. You're literally watching for kill count. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Who survives?
What ridiculous way is the next person going to die?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Agree.
So it's fun. It's fun in that regard. But I feel like this doesn't have any substance.
No.
Substance. There's no substance.
Also, 911 does not exist in this movie. However, the FBI does.
Yeah.
What's the dude's name that I like?
Dan Roebuck?
Dan Roebuck.
Yeah.
He's in this. He's great.
He's also a Jesus-y dude.
Oh, that's right. He came up. That's why he came up. He's in one of those Christ movies.
Uh-huh.
That make one of those Sorbo movies. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maggie Mayfish.
Yeah.
Never mind.
We should watch God's Not Dead for the pod.
I think that's the one.
That he's in?
Yeah. With Sorbo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Sorbo's in a lot of Jesus movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the one I watched Maggie Mayfish on.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Looks
how
pretty
it's like
good.
Kevin Sorbo, I think, plays like a professor who's an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a fucking piece of shit because he doesn't believe in God. So there's no reason to be nice.
Right.
My favorite.
Well, and also because his wife died or some shit.
Yeah. Because if God existed, why would my life be bad? You know?
Yeah, well, again,
God only
white manning all over the place.
Right.
Which is also how, if I recall, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the film goes. Gary Oldman gets pissed because his partner dies, and so he curses God and stabs a cross, and then blood comes out, and he's immortal.
We should watch that. I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe. I saw that in theater.
We should watch Dracula 2000.
Okay.
We should do that.
We should watch Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Okay.
You said no the other day. Caught you.
Probably. Oh no, that's a Leslie Nielsen one. No, I was thinking of what's the Jim Carrey one?
Oh, Once Bitten, I think.
Okay, that's what I was.
I'd
thinking
watch
of.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't want to watch anything Leslie Nielsen. Don't do that to me. Don't make me.
What's
do
the
that.
one? Isn't there a like Eddie Murphy one or
Yeah,
Brooklyn
Vampire or something like that. It's something like that. I do back to the Dracula. I like the Venture Bros episode that like where Billy Quizboy
Yeah.
is on the ship with Monstroso and they recreate the scene
Yeah, with all the
with all the vampire quote unquote
That's from Bram Stoker's.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's like,
I've also never seen Interview with the Vampire.
oh fuck, we should totally watch that. Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean,
don't
we did
think
watch Exit to Eden.
it's true. It's better than that, but that's such a low bar. Such a low bar.
Take it. Take that, Anne Rice.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I forgot.
That's why I brought it up.
I forgot. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, the rest of the month is just going to be horror.
Yeah,
movies.
we might do a preview of what we're planning on watching.
Who knows?
But I am excited. This, for both of us, is our favorite
Yeah.
movie
This
theme.
time of the year.
Yeah.
I love what-
There's we should do an unmentionable for the new Candyman, if we can get it, if we can watch it.
Yeah, I don't think it's streaming. I think it's theaters only. So it'll be a
So
while.
far,
Yeah.
I guess. Okay.
But when
There's also that I already forgot. There's a German
oh yeah.
vampire movie that came
Yeah.
out not real recently that looks kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Welcome.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Where if you look for us,
We should really do these at the top,
ZNK Pod on Instagram,
or maybe just
Patreon.com/ZNK Pod, and if you want to email us any sort of movie recs for us to watch, we're z.and.k.pod@gmail.com, and you can send us an email and tell us what you'd like us to watch, and we'll either do a full episode or an unmentionable.
also
about
get on
it.
our Patreon for $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're able, understand if you can't, but there are some little perks, and the more people that do it, the more encouraged we'll be to make more perks.
Hell yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. Then I do want to say the only reason I have promised behind the scenes footage of us recording, but it's still warm out, so we're still recording with
Mostly
Keith nude. So
Sorry, I'm mostly nude.
yeah, I'm a never nude. So but yeah, so that's the only reason we haven't done too many behind the scenes yet. But once the weather cools down a bit, there'll be lots of behind the scenes, or a lot more behind the scenes. Safe for work.
You're cashing promises your check account can't bank on.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks
to
for
the
listening.
first episode of Hollow Scream Spook-tober.
Tall scream.
Hollow Scream.
Hollow scream.
Woo.